Welcome. Whoop, jumped the gun. Welcome to the Glacially Musical Pouredcast. It is beer, metal, and swearing. Of course, I am Nick Cameron of Glacially Musical, joined by my good friend, a man we're always looking up at, who's always standing above us on raised platforms, Keefy Chabutra. How we doing today, buddy?
You gotta rise above, you gotta rise above.
You don't know what a Chabutra is. Don't even act like you know.
I just singing punk rock lyrics. What do you want from me?
I've only known what a Chabutra is for the past 88 seconds.
All right.
But it means raised terrace, actually. I just thought it sounded cool. Thank you, all the finger fudgers, for checking in with us this week on our Gimme Metal Chaser. This is, of course, the Glacially Musical Pouredcast, a lovingly derivative, often ridiculous, Amtrak-laden, cocaine-smelling, beer-drinking metal podcast where we forget what we're doing half the time. Like when I'm trying to come up with this thing to tell you about what we do every week that I have completely just lost the plot on. Anyway, we love metal. We like to talk about metal, and we are glad you are here. If you are here to join us for Ghoul, if it's your first time, spoiler alert, it's my first time with Ghoul too. But if it's your first time with the podcast, please just go ahead and give us a like and a subscribe and just, see if you like it. If you like it, stick with. And if you don't like it, try 6 or 7 more episodes, then stick with. Anyway, so, departments, of course, we have the greeting, the beer check, the vinyl check, news of the day, meat of the episode. There's going to be very short vinyl checks because this is a vinyl episode. I'm going to do one just because I got to get some of the crap off of that shelf because I got to have some room for the stuff I'm going to buy this weekend. Because the kid and I have already planned an excursion. And I may come home, if nobody's watching me, with a copy, perhaps, of Jane's Addiction, Nothing's Shocking, original pressing. Because I know where one is.
Lawyer wife does not watch this podcast or listen to it, so you can get away with anything.
Well, I told her that I almost bought it last week and told her how much it was. She went, and then I said, it's appropriately priced. Oh, but appropriately priced isn't terrible. I mean, it's awful. It's just not terrible. It's like Hagar the Horrible, not Catherine the Terrible.
I always said Hagar. Did you say Hagar?
Is it? I always said Hagar.
Like Jaqen and Hagar from Game of Thrones, but I
don't
always
watch
said
Game of
Hagar.
Thrones.
I know, you should.
I'm not.
All right.
I'm not. Look, if I haven't by now, I'm not gonna. Although it came after Sopranos. Speaking of Sopranos, funny thing should have happened at work today, but it didn't. My boss and I pass each other, and he's wearing his shorts and polo shirt like he's ready to go to the golf course, and I'm wearing one of my many track jackets. And he looks at me and he goes, Nick, you and I are dressed for very different seasons. And what I said was, I just love my track jackets. What I should have said, and if I had been smart and on the ball, I would have said, well, boss, you're dressed for the job you have, being my boss, and I'm dressed for the job I want, mob boss. But I did not think that fast. It took me another hour to come up with it.
Next time you'll do it, though.
Oh, yeah,
now
totally.
Ready.
Yeah, that joke is now going to be loaded into the gun forever. Anyway, beer check. This week I am drinking a Pipeworks Brewing Mini Unicorn IPA. It is a session IPA. Trying to do a little less on the imperialness of the IPAs. So, finger fudge pour. Cheers, finger fudgers. Oh, wait, I did that too soon, too. Damn it, I am jumping every gun.
That's okay. The guest is not even here yet. Wait. I'm going to try to talk less today because I don't like one of these topics. And I could be extremely shitty and negative, and I probably will be. But I'm going to try to really rein it in. I'm drinking a Liquid Death Mountain Spring Water in a can or sparkling
Murder your thirst.
Mango Chainsaw in my Gimme Metal koozie. Because I like
all kinds of Gimme Metal today.
It is. You don't even know yet. Cheers.
Cheers, my friend. And our finger fudgers, thank you for joining us. I'm going to move on into the vinyl check. Now, one of the things I put on the internet recently which made me giggle, was I have found myself lately buying more music based on what they're playing on the PA system between acts than by what's being played on stage. But when you're seeing the likes of Rob Zombie and Journey and Def Leppard this year, you kind of already have all of the records you're going to buy by those people. I mean, you're pretty much done if you're me. Yeah, I think I'm even done buying Styx records. I even Dennis DeYoung Styx records because I got a bunch. But so we're sitting there, we're on our lawn chairs, we're drinking our beer, and we hear bum bum, brrr, and I'm like, wait a minute, I don't have this yet. This is on Tommy Boy Records. It's not Digital Underground, so what is it?
Anthrax.
Nope.
House of Pain.
House of Pain, Fine Malt Lyrics.
I guessed correctly. Look at that. Boom, shalock lock boom. All right now.
It is just a standard repress, but it's a very high quality repressing. So I got it on Discogs. I think it was about $30, which is a bit more than I would have liked to have paid for repress.
You gloss right over the fact that vinyl is the Irish flag. The flag of Ireland, literally.
Is it?
Orange, green, and white.
Oh yeah, look at these traitorous sons of bitches.
Oh, it's on the label. It's on the label. And that, well, I mean, it's their branding is their Irish white boys from Boston. Eric Schrody, former protege of Ice-T, by the way.
Yeah, they're not Irish. They're
the Rhythm
Merkin.
Syndicate.
They're Merkin.
Well, whatever. I mean, like Muggs isn't.
I am fighting the American concept of introducing yourself by your heritage. Because I felt like the biggest idiot. I'm like talking to my buddy from Blackpool, England, and we're talking about Scotland. I'm like, well, I am Scottish. And he looks at me and he goes, no, you're not. You're American. And I went, you know what? He's kind of right. So
yeah,
I'm fighting him.
Where Carlin, the great George Carlin, said that nationalism is one of the dumbest things ever because it's literally a decision you didn't make. You didn't choose to be born a certain way from certain parents, and it's a dumb call. But anyway, a band that just put out a new record. So that was on the label was the Irish Colors, right?
Yeah,
which is the branding of the band. And then Flesh God Apocalypse has a new album out called a brand new album, a death metal symphonic death metal band with an opera singer. They're amazing. I don't know if you're a fan. They would be worth a run at some point. Their whole vinyl that came out this week looks like a spumoni. It looks like a spumoni cookie, like the Italian flag on purpose.
It looks like an Asti Spumante?
Spumoni. Do you know
Asti
what spumoni
Spumante?
is?
No.
Not Asti Spumante, the shitty box wine from the 70s.
I thought it was box
and 80s.
champagne.
Whatever it is, it sucks. Anyway, I don't really have a vinyl check. I have the vinyl from today's episode to uncheck, or to check. And I'm going to lead that unboxing and the rundown. So should I just wait, or should I do it now?
Wait a minute! I didn't even need to get this damn thing out. I pulled it off the record player and pulled it over here. I'm just going to complain.
I don't know what you're doing. What are you doing? I thought you were done.
I am done.
All right. So what are you complaining about for no reason?
Because I brought the damn thing over here thinking you were going to make me do it like you always do.
Well, I mean, like it's good that you did it because you were mad at me when I didn't have one the last time. So
that's just because we did it differently than what we described.
I'm not a big fan of rebuying the same thing over and over again unless it's like I'll mention it in the news, but like I'm not a big fan of buying multiple versions of the same thing. That's redundant and wasteful to me. You can do that because you're an audiophile, but you do have multiple versions of several records that you love. So you want the different versions to be
what
them.
I have is I have upgraded pressings and just not gotten rid of the other ones yet.
All right.
I do say that. And in the 100 YouTube subscriber giveaway, there is a record that will be in. I'm actually thinking about doing 2 because I have about 10 records to give away that I'm willing to just give away. We can have the Metallica pack, and we can have the Pink Floyd pack.
Well, what Metallica are you giving away without talking to me first? Come on now.
Kill 'em all.
Give to the needy and not the greedy. I have Kill 'em all. I don't want another one. All right, fine.
I've got the Megaforce one, and even though it's a little beat up and doesn't sound technically,
it's a Megaforce Kill 'em all. I mean, like
it's Megaforce Kill 'em all.
Yeah. We're at 72, 73 subs.
We're at 72 right now, so I
I would
think I'm
really,
gonna
yeah,
gonna do a number one and a number
yeah.
two, and number
All
one
right.
gets to choose
Oh, like
because
a grand prize and an alternate prize.
I upgraded a Pink Floyd record to a Japanese pressing.
Oh, nice. All right. I'll do. I promised this a few weeks ago. While I'm here in my remote location, pet sitting, I will work on that giveaway and solidify the details with you over the weekend to do it for next week.
Sounds good.
With a big social media push from Ghost Cult. So now I'm going to ask you again the question I asked before. I am leading the unboxing today for the episode we're doing on Ghoul, Splatterthrash. Would you like me to do that now at the vinyl check, or would you like me to wait until we get ready to do the record? Because I'm going to do the intro, I'm going to do the track by track.
Let's do it with the record because we
Okay.
are doing it's the Gimme Vinyl or the Gimme Metal, excuse me, the Gimme Metal vinyl edition of the record. So there's a little bit of new stuff going on in the world. The big one is Sir Dr. Brian May, OBE, recently had a minor stroke. So,
Former podcast subject.
all the good feelings headed towards him. And the bigger news though this week, no, I'm not going to make that joke because that's really really mean. I actually some personal news. I finally re-upgraded my downgraded turntable. In 2020, I bought a new stylus cartridge and head shell in order to upgrade the sound because the biggest way you can upgrade your turntable is by upgrading that. 90% of the sound of your record player comes out of the needle. So the higher quality needle, the higher quality the sound is. Of course, there's diminishing returns based on your ear play. I just could not get this damn Ortofon stylus set right. And I was even going to take it into an audiophile store and be like, well, you just set this damn thing up for me. I can't get it. But I was going to swap out needles on my old one, and I discovered my spare needle because I always have a spare. That's another good piece of advice for everybody out there. Always have a spare needle. When your needle goes out, buy a new one that day. And so that way you can swap it out and you're good to go. But I just kind of took a shot in the dark, went and grabbed the new glasses case, the new glasses toolkit, pulled out a tiny little screwdriver, and I nailed it. I got it perfect. I got it perfect on the first try.
You didn't nail it as much as you screwed it, or pliered it. I don't know.
But I didn't screw it off. I screwed it on, which is way hotter, I think. Is that hot? I don't know. So, yeah, so I've got my cool Ortofon OM10 stylus going, and it sounds even better. I've been getting used to the new receiver, still trying to dial in my sound on it, haven't quite gotten there. And that's all I got for newsy stuff this week. How about you?
Really quick. Ticketmaster completely shit the bed on the Oasis ticket sale. Ticketmaster Live Nation is horrible. No notes. Ghost Cult used to take advertising money from Live Nation. By the way, I'm not ashamed of that because money, I can't live on credit or respect. And the company can't exist on it either. So here's the ending to the thing I was about to jump into a few minutes ago. So Black Sabbath has re-released their audiophile new repress of a while back Black Sabbath original album reissue. Does that make sense? A new press of the first album. Sold. They sold it out in a day. 3,000 limited edition audiophile copies gone. Already on Discogs and eBay for lots of money. You just got to get the luck of the draw. I found out after it was already gone that it was announced. I didn't see the announcement until it was already out and gone. But I know some people that got it, and I'm interested to hear their take because it's like one of those things in the Black Sabbath fandom that lives in the lore that people want this thing, this remastered audiophile version of Black Sabbath self-titled. Sorry that we missed out on it, but it is what it is.
I'll be honest with you right now. I have a copy of that record, which is a 2012 180 gram repressing, and I think everybody who listens to this show at all knows that that is not what I want. And I gotta say though, it sounds great. Every now and again, they do these 180 gram repressings lovingly and wonderfully and faithfully. And that is one of those records. I would put it up against most of my Japanese pressings. It is the kind of record that you would actually play for somebody in order to get them interested in vinyl, saying, "Here's how good it can sound." It doesn't always, but it can.
That is completely fair. Sorry. I see our
No
guest is
worries.
here. Let's shirt check and let him in.
That works for me. My shirt check. I am rocking the Pink Floyd Animals T-shirt. I kind of want to get a new Animals T-shirt with the new Animals 2018 on it. Previous podcast subject: Animals 2018.
I would like to go travel to the Battersea Power Station, even though it looks radically different now, and go take a photo in front of there because I'm a nerd. Um, my shirt check, because I'm a shameless hoebag, is my Gimme Metal shirt because if nothing else, I'm a maniac and dedicated to whatever I'm into.
Whiplash. Oh
All
wait,
right.
that was last week.
Yeah, that was last week. Let's pause and welcome in our guest.
Record. Record now. We'll do it live. Quit messing with. Oh, hey, everybody. Welcome back. We are joined by one of my favorite people, the first fan of the show for some reason. A dude that's fun to go to a soccer game with, fun to go to a concert with, who puts up with my foibles and all of the little things that I do that we don't talk about publicly because I'm ashamed of myself. My good friend, the rhythm guitarist of Torchlight Parade, the leader of Capuchin Punks, the guy that does Three Fourths Francis, which is a great Rolling Stones inspired band. My good friend, Danny Nichols. How are we doing today?
Good. It's always an honor to be here. Great to be talking to you guys again. So I'm
You
excited for this.
need a better class of friends, but I appreciate your words, and the check is in the mail.
Probably. There you go.
Welcome back, Danny. Glad to have you
Thanks,
back. As
man.
you're a fixture here now.
They-
Are you the
I
first?
love it.
Is Danny the first guest to be on 3 times?
I believe he is the first three-time guest. Yes.
And if you guys ever do that chaser on a Kiss Revenge, maybe I can be a fourth time guest.
He won't let me. I want to.
Because
Don't
we'll
let
gang
me.
up on him with that one.
You know
That's-
what?
I love
Nobody,
Revenge.
nobody has sent me a message saying, "Okay, I want to do this on this date."
Oh, we did. We just before we get a shirt check out of Danny. Here's a news item because you mentioned Kiss and Revenge, not related, but Creatures of the Night, Nick's favorite Kiss album. Uh, I
Wait, is
guess
that a
Brian,
joke? Because it kind of almost is.
It kind of almost is. So Bryan Adams is in the news. He just put out a 7-inch single with his own cover of the song he co-wrote with Kiss, War Machine, because he wrote songs on Creatures of the Night. Good friends with Jim Valance, who co-wrote songs on there with Gene and Brian. And Brian launched his own record label called Bad Records. I'm going to be honest with you, it's a not good name to call your record label Bad Records. I don't think it's good.
If it's in the
Probably not.
'80s, it's good. It's like we're so good, we're bad.
Yeah,
Well,
just
it's
not
like
good.
an amalgamation of his first initial and his last.
Right,
name.
Brian. Yeah, Bryan Adams and douche or something, or dickweed. It's fine. Like, whatever it is. It's not good. I love Bryan Adams. One of the funniest times I ever clowned myself ever. I got cable like very late because of poverty in the 80s. And I finally got cable in the early 90s, and I used to just tape videos. Same way I used to tape songs off the radio. I taped videos like religiously every day.
Oh yeah, I did that.
And so it's like I brought my friends over to watch. Oh, I taped all this metal off a Headbangers Ball, and even late at night they were playing a block of metal and this and that. It was probably like right after the Black album, so metal was on all the time, randomly, or even hard rock. Living Color to me is I love them. They have some metal moments, and it was like Slayer, Metallica, Anthrax, Alice in Chains, and Summer of '69, Bryan Adams, and my buddies. My buddy's
I
looking.
was hoping it was everything you do, everything I do it for you. That would have been
Yeah.
epic because I finally started watching Cobra Kai again.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah, you got to catch up because they're going to come back with the final half season that's left. But anyway, embarrassing for me. Lost some credibility that day, some street cred. But so Brian has been talking about the experience of writing those songs, and so he was like, "Yeah, I don't know." Gene wrote the riff to War Machine. Apparently, came up with the bass riff, and they were like, "Brian, what do you got for like a melody and lyrics?" And he was like, "Well, the other song we wrote was about hell. Let's write a song about war." So I thought it was pretty good. Like, yeah, I think Bryan Adams is probably a solid guy, right?
Yeah, there's also another story going around from Gene Simmons doing an interview on all of the Kiss albums, and he finally said what I have been saying on this show. We weren't an albums band.
No kidding. For
Yeah,
real?
yeah. The first clue that they weren't a very good albums band was all of their albums.
I'm gonna pee
I
myself
mean,
over here from
if
laughter.
I'm being honest, the best quality Kiss album is Ace Frehley. And that gets real mid on the soft underbelly side too. Is it Wiped Out? No, I'm in Need of Love. Oh my God, how that made it to a record. Real confused. I guess that was the best take.
So
His
here's the thing,
junky
though.
karaoke of yeah, should not have made it to a record.
If they got three great songs on every album, then they put out these two live albums, a live one and a live two, that are just these fantastic set lists. So, but I kind of agree. I think that the two best Kiss albums, whole album through, are probably Creatures of the Night and Revenge, in my opinion. But
The best album all the way through is Carnival of Souls, which is extraordinarily
which
unfortunate.
is also
No one.
highly predictable that you would say that.
Yeah, well, of course he would, but also no one would say that except Nick Cameron on
Right,
Earth.
right.
No, not even Paul and Gene would say they like that record comparatively. My
No,
favorite
no,
Kiss
no, no,
record.
no, 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 no. You misunderstood what I said. I didn't say I like it the best. I said it is the best album. It is the
Okay.
best Kiss release as a singular piece because it doesn't have Love Theme from Kiss. It doesn't have Mainline. You know what else it doesn't have? All the Way. And it doesn't have any of the Gene songs for the next 15 years.
There's a song that Kiss did that's like a ripoff of Journey's "Any Way You Want It" or something. That's awful.
No, they did Any Way You Want It.
Oh, did they?
They did it before Journey did, I think.
It was side
Dave
four
Clark
of
5
live
band.
two.
Oh, maybe yeah. Yacht Rock fans will have my back about the Peter solo album, and I will not hear otherwise. But because I can't stop the rain, here it comes again.
love
Again
that
and
song.
rain do not rhyme, but it's
I'll
a
be
great
honest.
song.
I'll be honest. This is not the Sugar Papa likes. Why are we talking about
I don't know. It just ended up here.
This
Hey, Danny,
convers-
what?
this? This conversation is going to keep me up all night. I'll be tossing and turning.
This conversation is over. To quote Fight Club. Danny, what are you wearing? What's your shirt today?
I got my brand new King Diamond shirt. He just released it. I'm going to slowly stand up so you can see it. It is a Halloween themed shirt. It even says Halloween on the bottom.
Isn't every King Diamond a Halloween themed shirt?
That's what's great about King Diamond. So,
I mean, he has a song called Halloween, and the first line is "Every day is Halloween."
we saw him. Nick and I saw him on the 2014 tour, and they had the greatest tour T-shirt ever that night. And they only had it. They didn't have it in my proper size, so I bought it in the wrong size. And so I was actually trying to find on the internet somebody selling it in my size for less than $100, and I stumbled across this T-shirt, and so this was my consolation prize for $25. So.
One
So
of these
I got
days,
my
I'm
King
finally
Diamond
going to buy a
Halloween
King
shirt.
Diamond shirt.
Are you more excited for new King Diamond or new Merciful Fate music? Danny.
So that is a tricky question. Because of when I got into metal, which was 1986, I actually had a huge back catalog and love of King Diamond before I really even knew what Merciful Fate was, as it is when you're 10 years old. So I discovered these bands out of order, kind of like how Nick's always saying how or a lot of people like got Dio Sabbath before Ozzy Sabbath, which wasn't the case with me.
I
but
don't think there's that many of us, but I did. It's probably better to say, like many of us, I
it's
heard
possible.
Ozzy before I heard Sabbath.
Well, that's true in my case also. So that's definitely true. So I was 10 years old and super into King Diamond, which will really make you quite the pariah at the local Catholic grade school. But so I was really into King Diamond and really grew up with King Diamond before I kind of backtracked into Merciful Fate almost through Metallica, like so many other people did. So I actually know more King Diamond than I do Merciful Fate, or at least I have more nostalgia for it. So that's a long-winded way of saying I'll go with new King Diamond. I don't know what his band's going to be on this. Is it Andy LaRocque?
It's going to be the same
guitar?
It's going to be the same band for both bands, except for Andy LaRocque's going to be in the King Diamond band.
Okay. Well,
That's
I'm
how
a
it's
big
been
Andy
for the
LaRocque
past.
fan, so I'll go with that. So
It's Andy LaRocque. Now you got me confused. King says
I have-
LaRocque.
okay.
I
Well,
have
I
enough-
believe him.
I have another serious question for the room. Is this hat too glittery?
I didn't get the answer,
I didn't ask you. I asked Danny.
but I want to answer.
Okay, sure. Damn it.
The fact that Merciful Fate at this point in time is Merciful Fate, what passes for Merciful Fate, I'm more excited for King Diamond.
There you go. That's.
I mean, they had a guy die and another guy get fired, so yeah.
Look, is Hank Sherman there? Is Timmy Hansen there? Is whatever the hell the bass player's name there? I don't remember his name.
Didn't Timmy die?
I don't know. Did he?
Yeah.
I think
Can't
so.
keep up with everybody.
Oh,
dying.
Nick. Oh, Nick. Anyway.
Yeah, he did die. Okay, so you could have Hank and the other one and Denner.
Yeah. Sherman and Denner. That would be nice, but I don't think they're both coming back.
They did an album together.
They did an album. They have a band together, yeah.
That really should be on the DMA. I have not listened to it yet.
I think they have 2 albums, and that should be a DMA release. Again, I have a very glittery hat. What do you guys think? Is it too glittery?
So I thought it was Skeleton Witch, but now I'm seeing it's Phantom.
No,
Witch.
it's Phantom Witch, and like under the hat it says witch. Bewitched.
I think the word
I like
witch
it.
needs to be completely outlawed for any new bands. You just cannot use that word. It is
Black, Thunder, Smoke, Fire, Hood, Royal.
I mean, Royal Thunder is probably the worst offender out of all of them because
I love them so much, though.
So do I. They're great. If
Me
only
too.
they were Black Royal Thunder, because then it would just be you're
Black
just
Royal Thunder, Wizard, Fire.
witch.
Fire Witch, yes.
There we go. Black Thunder, Royal Black Fire Thunder Witch Wizard Acid Rain.
Yeah, so Phantom Witch is a thrash metal band from the Bay Area, and Pizza Thrash, Neo Thrash, and I saw them open last year for Violence at like one of the very last shows Phil Demmel did with them. Certainly the last hometown show. They played all of Eternal Nightmare, which was rad. Phantom Witch, good band. They didn't really have much merch that day, and I went back at the end of the day. Like the thing you shouldn't do, you should buy all your merch early, and then do not go back to the merch table again. But I went back to the merch table again and bought another thing from every band. I think I have a Phantom Witch patch. And I got this hat, and it's kind of like, this is foil, like a little foily gold, and it's like a little girly.
Is it
To
safe
me.
to say they're putting on the foil?
Maybe. The tinfoil. A tinfoil hat. Oh. But anyway, I wanted the room's opinion on Phantom Witch. I am now going to be quiet for a while and let you guys talk about Sammy Hagar playing Van Halen songs with his band and Rob Zombie Alice Cooper shows you both attended and I did not.
Anything else?
Nick,
to say?
take it away.
Are you going to be nice?
No promises about being nice, but I did see the Rob Zombie Cooper tour last year, so I'm interested.
Are you going to say
in your
mean
take.
things about Sammy Hagar?
I am going to say horrible things about Sammy Hagar, but
Why
you go
can't
ahead.
why can't you just be kind and joyful? It's all love, as they said on Rockstar Supernova in that
Because-
really terrible song sung by Lucas.
At the end, Lucas Rossi, who I interviewed, he has a heavy metal album. At the end of the day,
He does.
I'm a cunt. Yeah. At the end of the day, I'm a cunt. And that's why I can't say nice things about Sammy Hagar. Anyway, take it away, Nick.
All right, let me set the stage here. First of all, Sammy Hagar is about 685. And I'm pretty sure he toured with Beethoven after his residency in Austria with Brahms. And if he wasn't in there in Africa beating on a drum at some point in time, I question our history books. The man is fucking old and can still bring it to begin with. He has not lost a step. But I mean, we're not talking about a really high bar here. We're not talking about, 4-octave range by any stretch. But you know what? He is still with it. He still got it. Should point out that if you live in St. Louis, and I think Danny will back me up on this one, you are predisposed to enjoy Sammy Hagar. It's like Emo's Pizza, man. You're born here, they give you the pizza, you drink some Budweiser, and then the next thing you know, you're listening to There's Only One Way to Rock. which I have severe qualms with that song because I feel like there's lots of ways. I mean, maybe I'm mistaken. Maybe I'm going too deep on this. And then the next thing you know, you're saying Mas Tequila because it just makes sense. And then you're going down in Cabo. And I mean, and then it's 5150 and they're calling the cops because you've gone crazy. Danny?
So what Nick says is true. Sammy Hagar is a very big deal in St. Louis, and I'd almost guess that he might be bigger in St. Louis than just about anywhere else on the planet.
I believe he is.
And that is because of our seminal rock station, KC95, which has existed long enough to be at a time where rock stations had some sort of autonomy in what they played. And as growing up in St. Louis and with KC95, you were absolutely bludgeoned with Sammy Hagar, Montrose, Sammy Hagar, everything else. So there is, I think, automatically.
The one thing we're not bludgeoned with is the H-Sauce album that he did with Neil Schon, which ironically is really good.
Which I'm surprised that we're not. And so there is a level of nostalgia that comes with Sammy Hagar. And they have, he has even said this before, that he's on the East Coast. He could, was barely playing clubs and he was playing arenas in the Midwest. So he's much bigger here. Now, that said, I'm not really much of a Sammy Hagar fan. I'm not really
I'm totally not a fan.
It's like Nick saying he loves Sammy Hagar, though, is actually not the contrarian opinion one might expect from Nick, because in St. Louis,
I am not a contrarian. I will not stand for this slander.
I know it comes up every episode, but that said, Sammy Hagar Van Halen was using synthesizers to tell songs about falling in love, and David Lee Roth era Van Halen was using guitars to tell songs about scoring. So,
okay, real quick. You are now telling lies. Have you never heard Jump?
Well, that was the beginning of the transition. So
okay, so there were all kinds of synthesizers on 1984. 1984 is a synth album.
That 100%. Not 100%. There's a lot
as much as the three good Sammy records. I don't care about the other ones.
I can interject here and just jump in and say a positive thing about Van Halen in its totality. There are keyboards on Van Halen 1. The intro to Running with the Devil has a keyboard playing through a distortion pedal or like a big muff through a Mesa Boogie amp.
That's a fun phrase.
Yeah, big muff. Yes. So you couldn't get away with that today. I didn't make up the pedal or the name. Get off it. Get out of my face.
I don't.
Get off of my Zoom.
Oh, get off it? No. Get on it.
So, I think there was Eddie always wanted to have synths and keyboards in Van Halen, but yes. I think the Guitar Hero thing was so huge that they were mixed very low. And then progressively, album after album, you start hearing keyboards. And then I think just finally 1984 was like, fuck it. Keyboards are going to stand on equal footing with the guitar. And let's face it, they're great. No notes, Yamaha DX7.
All Weight is like one of my favorite Van Halen songs.
Love it.
No guitar
so
in it at all. And what's that song about? Oh, yeah, it's about falling in love and monogamy. Written by David Lee Roth. Oh, we know another one of my favorite Van Halen songs is Pound Cake. Man, all the monogamy in that song.
Horrendous song. I would say
I don't even think it's the singers. It's what Eddie wanted to do, and I think
I agree. Musically,
he had the singer that could do what he wanted to do.
Oh, completely.
That's probably true. And Dave is not a guy you can manipulate or direct because he's Dave, and he's on Planet Dave. Right? As he would tell you, he's on Planet Dave, and the schneef doesn't help. But as Nick would say, but what I will say is, so if let's just take everything being equal. I don't like Sammy Hagar, and I actually like Danny. Your exceptional point. Nick is making no good points in this segment. Not even anything yet. Things he hasn't even said yet. Hold no water or wait with me. But Danny made a really good point. Sammy's career, with Van Halen, is very similar to his career with Montrose. That nobody really knows Montrose except a couple of songs. They were a very good band, but they're kind of anonymous, right? Kind of under the radar. Sammy goes solo. He's got a couple, heavy metal. I Can't Drive 55, Three Lock Box, good songs. And he was known as a guitar player who could sing, not this fantastic singer. And I remember when Sammy came in Van Halen, my brother was fucking psyched. And he's passed on, but fuck him. And he was really excited, and I was like, this is where you and I go our separate ways. Because no, David Lee, just like with Ozzy, he went to Dio. Oh my god, Dio is so much better than Ozzy. Yeah, he might be, but not the songs and not anything else. And it's the same thing. It's like, okay, so you gotta go, oh, Sammy Hagar can play guitar. Yo, Eddie Van Halen does not need anybody else, even in the band, except his brother. He doesn't need anyone.
That's actually something very similar to what Rex Brown told me when I pissed him off. Because I was like, did you ever think about two guitar players in Pantera? He's like, did you think Dimebag needed a helper? Whoa, sorry. Okay, I didn't think this through.
Well, take it easy there, buddy. Yeah, Rex and I had a pretty good interview once, but he also was salty. I didn't write any of that.
My interview read great, but yeah, he was salty.
He's a salty guy for a long time. Now, I think he's good now, and he's at peace now, because, money fixes everything. But I'm just going to throw this out here, and then I promise I'm not going to talk for the rest of this segment on Van Hagar, which is really Sammy Hagar's entire personality now is basically Jimmy Buffett for like hard rock fans, and it's really
completely agree. 188%.
It's so ingenuine, made up, and sad. It has nothing to do with rocking the fuck out. It has everything to do with wide ass cotton Docker pants and sensible shoes and dads, and it sucks. And
he's 76, of course it is.
Jesus Christ.
I don't really disagree. And like the thing is, what sold the ticket for me is Joe Satriani playing Eddie Van Halen.
Yeah, of course.
And then Michael Anthony on bass, who somehow I'd never seen live because I managed to miss him. So I'm not a big Sammy Hagar fan, but I would say that the whole frat boy routine thing that he goes through is, and my main criticism of the show, although I thought it was very good, is
can I just jump in? He's not a frat boy, he's a frat grandpa.
Well, there you go, frat grandpa. But the whole like signing autographs during songs to the point where he's like missing lines because he's busy signing 50 different things that have been thrown on the stage, and I thought that was a little bit much over the top. I get that's part of his shtick. He's been doing that for years. But when you're sitting out on the lawn and can't possibly throw anything to the stage, you get a little bit bored with the meet and greets going on during the set.
It didn't bother me, and I liked the fact that they were holding up like vinyl copies of 5150, which I happen to have on vinyl. To be clear, this was my first time ever seeing Sammy Hagar, and I don't feel like you can live and die in St. Louis without having seen him. It's kind of like going to a Cardinals game. You got to go to a Cardinals game at least once. And you got to see Sammy Hagar before you die. And go ahead, Danny.
That's fair. And I think, I had seen Sammy Hagar once before, and the time before when I saw him, the guy next to me threw up on me.
Nice.
So the Sammy Hagar bar was very low. It was almost guaranteed to be a better experience than that night because nobody puked on me. But
that's because I wasn't up there with you. I'm kidding. I did not throw up. I am not a fan of Montrose. I'm not a fan of Sammy Hagar solo. There was a Keishi 95 and 97 won The Rock. Who Loves Sammy More Fest? That ruined me on Sammy. Only Eddie Van Halen could make me still enjoy Sammy Hagar's work. And I had seen Michael Anthony before because I saw the Van Halen 3 tour. The only time I have ever seen Van Halen was Van Halen 3 with Gary Cherone, which, if you ever wonder why I'm ruined...
I mean, that really tracks. That really actually explains everything we need to know about your
I did not love that show. That show was terrible. Gary Cherone, lovely man, just did not fit. But let us move on because we can do this for hours and we shouldn't, because if we do this for hours,
I would like to say
you and me. What's up?
I would like to say quickly though that I did think Sammy Hagar sounded really great, and I thought they put on a good show, and I really did enjoy it. And like, he's my dad's age, and when my dad says I can't drive 55, that means it's too fast for him. So the fact that he's up there singing and doing what he's doing at that
No,
age is fairly impressive. So I did think he was really good.
100%, 1000% agree. Let us quickly go through the set. I would say performance-wise, the show was about an 8 out of 10. They didn't have a whole lot of, there was not any theatricality. It was just these four dudes on stage just jamming through it. There was a little bit of stuff on the screen in the back, but it was a tribute to the music. And I was a little disappointed that he did not mention Eddie Van Halen once in the time I was there. I did leave early. I left at the point where they weren't playing any more Van Halen songs, when it just became the Sammy Hagar Montrose songs, and I didn't want to hear that. Like Danny, seeing Joe Satriani was a draw. I had never seen Satch. And seeing him put his stamp on Eddie's solos was cool. The entire band was great. I'm disappointed still that I did not see Jason Bonham, as we discussed last week. There was a family emergency. He had to go back home to England. So, supposed to have seen him twice this year. We'll have seen him none this year. But quickly...
Shout out to Kenny Aronoff there, who filled in, literally learned the whole set list in a day and came on tour.
And that was why I was okay leaving, because I thought maybe in St. Louis, because one of the things I wanted to say about Sammy in St. Louis that I forgot to mention, he comes here when he's not touring. It's like, oh, I'm not touring? Well, let me go hit one in St. Louis real quick. I'll just go bust one out. There were times where they were just drunk on stage like they were a bar band. Going, well, we don't have a show, we don't have a set, so what do you want to hear kind of stuff. And they would just whatever. And, the fact, when you live in the Midwest, especially in St. Louis, you really have an underdog mentality. You really have a chip on your shoulder, because our closest cousin is Chicago, and Chicago looks down on us like we suck ass. And no, we're not as big, but we're still pretty good. And so when somebody of Sammy Hagar's stature, whether you like his music or don't like his music, he has achieved, A+, #1 Duke of New York stature in the music industry, especially in the rock industry. So it's going to tear down some walls whether you hate it or not. But let's quickly run through the set list, and I will let you know at the point where I left. But being as they brought in a brand new drummer the week before, I was pretty sure they weren't going to do anything different than what was on the set list, which made me comfortable leaving. Good Enough, not a great song. It's fun. Pound Cake, one of my absolute favorite Van Halen songs.
Agreed. I love that song too.
That song, whenever I hear it, it always takes me back to when I am 16 years old in my best friend's basement, where his room was, listening to For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge on cassette. And just, spending that time with Nate.
That's probably my favorite Van Hagar song is probably Pound
Yeah,
Cake.
it totally is mine. Which I think I discussed Nate at length and all that time in his basement during the Metallica Garage Days series. Anyway, next is Runaround, which is Pound Cake, but not as good. There's only one way to rock. I mentioned this song earlier. I'm gonna say there's multiple ways. Am I alone on this one? I mean, is there just like one chord progression that rocks? I feel like there's more.
That song makes me think that Sammy Hagar is a guy that has only fucked missionary position his entire life.
He says in the song there are many ways to make love.
Yeah, but he doesn't know any of them except missionary because he's so lame. Because he's lame.
That might be true. I'm not gonna. All right, moving on. Judgment Day. I did not remember this song. I had to Google it, so did not need it.
That's what's funny is my wife said, "Man, I really like this song." I think it's probably one of the heaviest Van Halen songs, actually.
I believe that's on Carnal Knowledge too.
Yeah, it's definitely a deep cut though. So,
moving on into Panama, which is like, I bet you didn't think we were going to play this one. No, I did. I read the set list. You have not changed it, so I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing having the set list ahead of time, but it did help me beat the rush.
I usually do not look at the set list ahead of time because I like to be surprised.
I like to know when I can pee.
Unless I'm trying to decide whether to go. Like,
I sit on the lawn.
I've seen a bunch of times. I want to see if they're playing different stuff. And I'll look at it. But
I mean, and then if it's a band I don't like, then I'm there for Lawyer Wife. I want to know when we can leave. So I'll show her the set list, and she'll be like, "All right, 15 we can go." Awesome. Look, every show this year except for 2 I've been to this year have been for her. So Sammy and Chili Peppers have been the only shows that I've actually wanted to go to. And Keefy has shat on them both. So thank you for shitting on my joy, Keefy. Where
It's
was
the
I?
only
Mission
celebration of Van
accomplished.
Halen.
Okay, George
I'm
W.
like,
Bush.
I'm like George W. Bush. Mission accomplished. Look at the sock in my pants.
Okay, moving on to 5150. If you don't like this song, what is wrong with you? Get on the train.
It's a good one.
Summer Nights, deep cut that I do not require.
Oh, I love that song too.
Oh,
And I
yeah,
feel like you shouldn't be playing a outdoor amphitheater in the summertime without playing that. I felt like that was an essential song for the night.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bold choices. Next, we got Ain't Talking About Love with Michael Anthony singing. I don't know who had that on their bingo card, but it wasn't me. And I don't know who, I mean, he's not a bad singer, but I don't know who asked to hear him sing. It was not me.
I think he's actually, I think the value of Michael Anthony's backing vocals can't be understated.
I would agree with
Van
that.
Halen albums. So that
The difference between him singing
actually be the
backup and him
best.
singing the whole song, however, it's not the same
Yeah,
thing.
I thought he did good.
It's like Tony Fossis was the greatest pitcher against left-handers. They batted 005 against him. Unfortunately, against righties, they batted 750.
Do you enjoy Jason Newsted singing "Seek and Destroy" more than James Hetfield,
Yes.
or "Creeping Death," or anything else?
Now, yes.
No, never.
Yes.
I would say no to that also.
No, man, no.
But
No.
we don't got Dave there.
But I
so
really like
Michael
Jason
Anthony's
Newsted's
gonna get-
vocals. I wanted him to get a damn song on a record.
I agree. Well, he has a few. I agree with Danny.
No, he
about
does not.
The
He has
backing
backup.
vocals.
He has 4 backup songs.
He has
on the-
written
that's like
riffs. He has written riffs.
I wanted to
He
hear
has-
the man sing a song. I wanted to
He
hear him
wrote
sing a song.
the second most important riff on Blackened. He wrote "My Friend in Misery." He has written songs. Like he has songs.
I'm not talking about.
King Nothing.
I want to
It's a
hear him
hit song.
sing. He sings
I
like
know,
a
well,
bird.
Maybe.
That's why I
Continue.
enjoy those renditions. Okay, moving on to best or top of the world, the world's suite on top of the world, and the best of both worlds. These are 2 great songs that might be one song. I'm not sure. I enjoy them both. Next, he drops Satch Boogie, which is probably not the Satriani song I wanted to hear. Definitely not. I wanted to hear Summer Song. Drop me some Summer Song, but I guess maybe he realized that he ripped off Eric Johnson a bit too much on that one. Sounds a little.
I was
like
lucky and I got to
over.
see Satriani on his solo tour back in April. So
Oh, you went to that? Nice.
yeah, that was cool.
Next is the Seventh Seal. Again, had to Google the song. That is from Balance, which, if there is a Van Halen record not named 3 or A Different Kind of Truth that should be absolutely burned, spurned, and erased from human memory, it's Balance. In fact, that's the first one I would get rid of.
I love
Who's
it.
negative, me or you?
Yeah.
Come
Hey.
on.
I
I'm
love
not
A Different
negative,
Kind of
I'm
Truth.
honest. I'm not talking about the performance or the concert. I'm talking about that fucking terrible record that needs to be ruined and destroyed and forgotten.
I've never
That
actually
needs to go.
owned-
That's the record that the fucking priests in 2112 should have found. Oh, well, this is why they got rid of it. If they had found that record, rock and roll never would have came back in that whatever hell planet that was in the Neil Peartian Randian fucking place. But no, they found a Rush record. So now they've got decades of civil war. Yay for the Temple of Syrinx. Where was I? Right now, I really wanted a Crystal Pepsi when they played this song. I wanted a fucking Crystal Pepsi.
Well, that song was ubiquitous in about 1994, wasn't it?
1992 through 4. You just... I think all of our hearts played that song on MP3 loop in those 2 years. Still love it. Moving on to Why Can't This Be Love? And that's when it was time for Nick to get to walking. Because this was the end of the show that I enjoy. Great song. Had a great time. Next is Eagles Fly. I have no idea what that is. Danny?
Oh, really?
Yeah, no idea.
I knew that song. I feel like that song used to get radio play and maybe nowhere else on earth, but in St. Louis. So I knew that song. That was actually on his solo album that he had to release to get out of his contract to join Van Halen. So it was like a solo album that got put out in like 1985 that they recorded in like 1 week. and that was the one song that survived as a single from it. But I can't decide. I can't decide if that's a great song or a super cheesy song. I really can't decide.
Yeah, it's
So,
probably that second one. Next is Mas Tequila, which is the frat granddad anthem. If you are over 50 and you were in Alpha Kappa Phi, you're definitely singing along to this one.
I sat down during that one because to me that song is the super cheesy and it's just an
I mean,
advertisement for his
my
tequila. So
my question is this: if they're gonna do Mas Tequila, why didn't they do Wham Bam Amsterdam?
because he doesn't
That
have
song isn't much dumber.
he doesn't have a liquor called Wham Bam Amsterdam he's trying to sell. So
I
yeah, he's
believe he'd
got
be selling the marijuanas called Wham Bam Amsterdam.
he
That's
does.
that's what
Oh,
the song
okay.
is about. The marijuanas.
Yeah, but he's got
Uh,
a product tie-in with Mas Tequila, so I think that's why
there
we
you
get
go.
that
Fair
instead of
enough.
something better.
No, he sold that. He sold his tequila. He does rum now. Moving on to heavy metal. I just can't take that song seriously, so I'm going to skip it. I Can't Drive 55, abject classic. I'm sure it sounded good, Danny.
Oh, great song. Again, I mean, I remember hearing that in the car when I was 6 years old, probably. So, and I used to think it was about Highway 55, which runs through St. Louis.
That's awesome. Next, we get the
And
medley Space Station number 5, Bigfoot and Jump. I know one of those songs. And, frankly, I
it's
don't
a
need to hear
chicken
Sammy
foot.
Seagate. Oh, is that Chickenfoot crap?
It's
Okay, great.
Chickenfoot song. Yeah, I
I
thought it was a
don't.
pretty good song.
My
I think
favorite
it's
thing
pretty.
Chickenfoot ever did was guesting on an Aqua Teen Hunger Force episode where Master Shake loved Chickenfoot and everybody made fun of him for it. That's exactly how I feel about Chickenfoot.
Well, this basically was Chickenfoot with a different drummer.
No, it was
So,
that was the second Chickenfoot drummer. He was the touring drummer because there was a tour where Chad Smith had to go back to the Chili's, and so they brought this guy in for a tour. So it
so then
technically
it
was
essentially
Chickenfoot.
was Chickenfoot.
Yeah, it was
Yeah, so it makes
Chickenfoot.
sense that they would play a song.
Right. So then we got When It's Love. Okay, that's a good song. And Cabo Wabo, a cappella. Fuck that noise. Danny, give me a quick rating on this concert on a scale of 1 to 10.
Oh, geez, I don't know.
That's a 4.
I will say it was a 7 because I love the theme of it and I love Joe Satriani playing the songs, but they're all kind of level 5 songs for me, really. Most of
Fair
them.
enough.
You know what? I'll go with an 8. I want to say 8.
I'm
So,
going to give it an 8 myself because there were a lot of songs I really liked, and it was a spirited performance. And it, one of the things that we really should mention more and more on this show than we do, go see these people. The people we talk about on this show, 99 times out of 100 would be collecting Social Security if they didn't have an offer to go tour next year. So
it's the closest
realize
thing you're going to get to Van Halen. So
correct. This is
this
exactly
was
the closest
the
thing.
memorial
It was
tribute
half of it.
concert.
It was half of Van Halen, maybe
Right,
1.5, maybe 1.5. Yes, it is the most Van Halen tour you're ever going to get again. And
No,
St. Louis
no
was the last
eruption.
show.
No eruption, by the way.
No eruption. No. Which I think that would have been a little disrespectful. That is an Eddie signature.
I mean, like Pantera's out there with Zach Wilde doing everything by Daryl,
You know what?
including Floods.
That's because they only have 3 albums to draw from. Let's be
Planet,
real.
Planet Caravan and Floods. He's doing Daryl's signature stuff and
Okay,
whatever.
let's move on now to the next part of the show, which is out discussing the Alice Cooper show. Gonna quickly run through the set list, and then we will give our thoughts on this one. Lock Me Up, No More Mr. Nice Guy, I'm 18, Under My Wheels, $1 Billion Babies, Hey Stupid, He's Back, The Man Behind the Mask, Snakebite, Feed My Frankenstein, Poison, Guitar Solo, Black Widow Jam, Ballad of Dwight Fry, Elected, School's Out with Dark Side of the Moon, or with Another Brick in the Wall Part 2 snippet, which that real quick, but I want to say this before I forget. That was an amazing rendition of them doing Another Brick in the Wall Part 2. 1, on the screens, they put up the wall, and 2, they played the song in the same timbre as School's Out. So it was perfection. I mean, absolute perfection. Lawyer Wife and I were discussing how we have lost track of how many times we have seen Alice Cooper. I am not sure. I know the first time was at Six Flags in the second row. I know the last time was on Sunday or Saturday. That's all I know. And there were other times too. One time was with Black Sabbath, and the rest of the times were with her. One time was with Motley Crue, one time Hailstorm. There might have been more. I don't know. But what she said was, and he never disappoints. I'm like, well, except for that one where he did all the deep cuts and we left when he got to the deep cuts. Well, yeah, we did. He is back clearly here. He's not promoting any of his new records, which it's nice to see that he had done a few. He's back to the greatest hits set list that he has been doing forever and ever and ever. I had to go pee really bad. I came back and she's like, you missed the guillotine. Yeah, I'll see it next time. I've seen the guillotine a bunch of times, but all in all, we're talking about somebody really advanced age. This guy was friends with Jim Morrison back in the day. Think about how long it's been since we lost Jim Morrison.
He was friends with Carol Channing and Groucho Marx. They're friends of his.
Oh, that's
and
true.
Dali maybe even. Like,
he was friends with Salvador Dali.
He hung out with Elvis too, so.
So again, if you have the opportunity and you have yet to take it, go to an Alice Cooper show. His band is amazing. He does not play any songs you don't want to hear. He never once said, here's the new one. He's got new ones. He just doesn't play them. So it's nice that he has them, but it was awful that he doesn't play them. If you look at the set list, it's $1 Billion Babies, Hey Stupid, Love It to Death, Constrictor, Killer, Raise Your Fist and Yell, School's Out, Trash, Welcome to My Nightmare. Raise Your Fist and Yell is the only one of those I don't know.
Oh, that's my favorite Alice Cooper album. Is Raise Your Fist.
Oh, there you go. I'm glad he played a song for you. What did you think of this show overall, Danny?
So this was the 14th time I've seen Alice Cooper, which is the most of any one band. I love Alice Cooper with all my heart. Every time I go to see him, I think that I'm going to be numb to it and that it isn't going to be great to me. And then he starts playing and I'm jumping around and screaming like a maniac.
Exactly the same.
Now, he did play 3 songs this time that I do not think I've ever heard him play live before. So I would say that there were 3 deep cuts. I'd never heard
Which ones?
Lock Me Up. I'd never heard that before. I'd never heard Snakebite before, and I don't think I'd heard Hey Stupid before.
I could be wrong. You've heard Hey Stupid because I have, and I'm pretty sure you've gone to most of the. I'm pretty sure you've gone to every Alice Cooper show.
If I have, it's not been in the set list for a very long time.
I remember seeing people complaining about it still being in the set list.
Yeah, I don't think it's been there for a long time, but. And I thought he was great. The stage show was a little bit less than his typical headlining stage show. They took out some of the elements of it, but
he was opening.
Yep, but man.
Well, he's not opening. They're co-headlining. Like, be clear, they're co-headliners.
Yeah, I think they did.
Is it? Okay.
It's not technically the opener, and there's definitely some scenarios where they used to flip-flop, but I think Alice likes going on earlier. Okay. So he goes first, and Zombie likes closing.
Yeah, because when I got to the show, it had Alice Cooper playing last, but he played first. But
he's the GOAT, in my opinion. So best live show ever. So.
I was gonna say with Danny. So I've also seen Cooper a ton of times. Probably one of my top 10 most seen bands. Never disappoints. Has upstaged Rob Zombie. Has upstaged Rob Zombie every time I've seen the two of them together, and it's multiple times, not just this last 2 years or 3 years. They've toured together a lot, and I think what you're missing, if you're a die-hard Alice fan, you're missing Only Women Bleed, you're missing Elected, and you're missing a couple of other.
He played Elected.
I might have zoned out. I don't know.
The one thing that bothered me was at the beginning of the tour, they said he was playing Lost in America. Which that is my absolute favorite Alice song, and I've never heard him play.
It is a great song. I don't know if I've heard him play that or not, but
I'm pretty sure I haven't.
Could be one of those things where they rehearsed it and then just it didn't come together, to play live.
It could be that because that was also during the time when they really weren't very good at playing their new albums because they were so thick and layered, and it might just be too much for them to be able to play.
And Nita Strauss is back on lead guitar, right? She's back now.
Absolutely.
Yeah, she's back. Was she gone?
Okay. She's the best.
She was gone.
She put out a solo record, and she did like 6 months of a tour with Demi Lovato for her punk record.
Nita's my wife's and my favorite. She's our favorite. We got to meet her earlier this year when she was over at Pops, and
I would
he's the
much rather
best.
have Orianthe back. I love Orianthe.
I mean, Orianthe's great too, but
very thankful I got to see her at the Family Arena with Jack Knockers, who sucked that night. But let's move on to Rob Zombie.
What band is Jack Knockers?
Do you really want me to say it?
Yeah, I don't understand what band you're talking about. You can't just
Marilyn Manson.
Oh, fine. Yeah, go ahead.
So, also, the Rob Zombie show features half of Marilyn Manson. Piggy D on bass and Ginger Fish on drums. Introduced him.
Well, no, Piggy D was fired. Piggy D is in Manson's band now. Because Rob Zombie, Ozzy, and Manson for like 2 decades just shuffled guys in and out. Constantly. So actually, the Riggs is back on lead guitar because John Five spurned Rob, and the bassist for Rob is Blasko because Ozzy is not touring, and so Blasko needed it. Like basically, Blasko's like, "Hey Rob, I'm available. I'd like to come back." Bye, Piggy. I'm sorry about the last 15 years of your life, but we got Blasko back.
Fair enough. All right, let's move on through the set list real quick, and I'm going to tell one story on one of these songs. First track is Demon Speeding, followed by Supercharger Heaven, a White Zombie tune from Astro Creep, their worst record. Feel So Numb. Now comes track 4. Here comes my story. The name of this song is, well, Everybody's Fucking in a UFO. And I thought, wow, whatever drugs you were on, and when you wrote this, couldn't you share them with me? I want to be involved. And the only words I could understand were, everyone's fucking in a UFO. And I look at Lawyer Wife, and I'm like, surely it's not everybody, is it? I mean, some people aren't, right? She looks at me and she goes, no, everybody. And I'm like, wait a minute. I have never fucked in a UFO. And I'm definitely not right now. Should I be concerned?
I think you don't remember you were fucked in a UFO and you don't recall.
By whom?
They booped you on the nose like a kitty and you forgot.
So everybody has been fucking in a UFO is what you're saying. For sure.
You needed the Phantom Witch hat to protect you.
All right, fair enough. Next, it goes on to What Lurks on Planet Channel X, Super Beast, The Lords of Salem, Dead City Radio, and the New Gods of Supertown, The Triumph of King Freak, A Crypt of Preservation and Superstition, Drum Solo, Fuck You, The Satanic Rites of Blackula, which is my favorite title this whole night, because it could have been Dracula, it could have been Count Dracula, but no, Rob Zombie finds another gear. He shifts into 6th gear, completely giving 5th the miss, and goes to Blackula. You know what? Cheers, sir. If you could do a song maybe about Dolomite next. Oh, wait, Beastie Boys already did that. Fuck you, Rob Zombie. Moving on to More Human Than Human. I was really excited for this one until I remembered that this is not Thunderkiss 65 because it was cold and I was wearing shorts. And Thunderkiss 65 was, that was my fill line. Once we hit that, Nick's had his fill. Let's get the fuck out of here. Next was Living Dead Girl, which is what Lawyer Wife wanted to see, followed by Thunderkiss 65, which was terrible. I waited and I waited and I waited and I got a ham-fisted, marble-mouthed version of Rob Zombie's finest moment. For this show, 2 out of 10. Would not recommend. Did not want to go see him. Did not want to stay for any of this. Wanted to leave before he started.
Well, I had a much more positive experience than Nick. I like Rob Zombie a lot. I think he's great. My only criticism would be that and this is true of a lot of bands, he had these giant video screens behind him the entire time, which made it hard to watch the band. You couldn't really see anything but the flashing images, and I don't know, I like to watch the band and see what they're doing, but maybe that's just me being a music nerd. But there was a lot of that, a lot of flashing images going on, and always with Rob Zombie, you wonder about how much of this is backing tracks and how much is them really playing. But that said, it was a great show. We enjoyed it. My wife is a huge Rob Zombie fan. I know she gave it a 10 out of 10 on the night. She was thrilled by it. Thunderkiss 65, somebody in the audience passed out in the middle of it, and they stopped the song mid-song and had to get somebody escorted out. So there was probably like a 7 to 10 minute interlude in the middle of the song before they resumed it. So I thought that was kind of unique. And the whole time I was afraid that like if this goes on too long, I'm not going to get Dragula. They're going to have to cut it from the set because it'll be 11 p.m. and they'll have hit curfew. But luckily, they rescued this person in time to get Dragula. And Halloween doesn't start until Rob Zombie plays Dragula. So that, to me, that kicks off Halloween season. And I love Rob, so I thought it was a good show, and we had a lot of fun with it. I thought it sounded good. So
It's not Christmas until Hans Gruber falls off a Nakatomi Plaza or gets dropped, and it's not Halloween. It's not spooky season until Rob Zombie's on stage yelling "Yeah" into a microphone.
Absolutely.
So here's some thoughts. So I saw this tour last year. I'm a bit disappointed. They may not be for you. I'm a little disappointed. Neither of you liked or saw, apparently, Filter or Ministry, who are two of my favorite bands.
Oh, I'm sorry. I did see them. I just didn't feel the need to talk about them. I did like when Ministry played his song "Goddamn Rednecks" and was insulting the Trumpers. That was fun. The rest of the show was not really necessary. It was kind of like a dude hitting play on a CD with guys jumping around.
That's industrial metal in general. They actually have a killer. They have a killer band. Actually, the band that Al Jorgensen has now is phenomenal. He's been on, actually, since Bush 2. Jorgensen has been on some political shit that, I think Ministry was always a little political.
They were political, but now one.
Yes, but much more so, blatantly so now, lyrically and thematically. Whole albums dedicated to the Iraq War and the war for oil and all these things, and class war. And he does have an exceptional band. Roy Mayorga is off the tour right now. They had to replace him with Pepe from King with a Y, one of my favorite bands from LA. Stoner rock band. Be an interesting band to do a run on or a DMA on. I love Filter. They had a great album last year, one of their heaviest, best albums. Richard Patrick's a genius.
They did play a song from it, I believe.
Hey Man, Nice Shot. They did probably play
they played that.
One of the new songs. Also, virulently political and angry at the current state of affairs. And I know they have the "Do You Want to Take My Picture" song. They have hits, right? Filter has hits. Hey Man, Nice Shot. They always close with.
Yeah, when he played that, when he said, "This is the song that put us on the map."
They played the song from the Spawn soundtrack too.
Yep. Do you I'm
drawing a blank, but
Trip Like I Do.
That's it. Yeah, that's
with was it the Sneaker Pimps?
Yeah.
I love the Spawn soundtrack. Spawn soundtrack would be a great chaser or a DMA.
Oh gosh, I love that song. The Marilyn Manson song on that album is
all the songs on that. Yeah. The whole album is flawless. I love some industrial metal, and again, I was saying for a second there that I go way back with. I saw White Zombie. I don't know if you know this, but I'm from New York, and I went to all these places, and I saw White Zombie open for the Cramps and the Lunatics as the opening band, as a very weird avant-garde noise rock band that was not remotely metal, and they kind of looked like homeless folks from who were squatting in the Lower East Side that I would see on my way to the diner, or if I had to go to the funeral home for something. And they evolved into a metal band because a friend of the show, Michael Alago, kind of heard one riff he liked from them on "Make Them Die Slowly" and turned them into a Slayer
metal record. Las Exorcisto. Las Exorcisto is a wonderful Pantera-style groove metal record, and then they went straight into industrial noise, which I don't like.
Yeah, too bad. Hard to disagree. Electric Head is absolutely Astro Creep 2000, Synthetic Delusions of the Electric Head, absolutely a metal record. You're ridiculous. Anyway, you said you like Supercharger Heaven. It's basically It's basically a thrash song.
I did not say that.
So here's the thing about Rob Zombie. I will tell you, he has his fans. He has an army of fans.
I know.
I agree that the show is meant to be overwhelming visually, and it does take away from the music. But what it reminds you is the songs are not very good, except the hits. He doesn't have deep cuts. He has hits and a lot of filler. But I do think the hits, "Living Dead Girl," "Dragula," some stuff he doesn't play much anymore, like "Educated Horses" has some bangers.
Yeah, lawyer wife asked me, what song are we on? I'm like, I don't know. They all sound the same.
They do. It's just Rob mumble-mouthing his way through things. He does have a killer band.
Ginger. Mumble-mouthing.
Yeah. Gingerfish was in Manson for a long time.
Yeah, he was on
drugs, and he was not good live. but actually he's clean now for like 15
he was
years.
very good. Don't get me wrong.
And
He was very good.
he's super, like, he's probably the best drummer on the stage that night.
It's interesting.
Who's drumming for Cooper? Is it DeGrasso still, or no?
No,
Someone
it's
else?
Glenn Sobel.
Oh, Glenn Sobel's back. Okay, so that's fine.
he's-
I like that. I like that Coop has like a mix between old guys and new people.
Well,
All
he's
right,
had
let's-
this current band for probably 10 years now, except for when he swapped out Nita for Kane Roberts for a while. Everybody else has been the same for about 10 years. So.
Let's do a quick roundup on these shows if there's anything else we need to say, because we haven't even gotten to the meat of the episode yet. We got to blast through that. So is there anything else you feel, Danny, that you haven't said?
Filter was fine. They were okay. I'm not a huge Filter fan, but they were cool. That was the second time I'd seen them, and they were pretty good. Ministry, I feel like they're an extremely important band, and they basically created industrial metal. Maybe I've given them too much credit. Without Ministry, I think there is no Rob Zombie, but I also think Rob Zombie has improved on Ministry, and I think Ministry, wife and I were even talking about this after the Ministry set, like, this is something that sounds good when you're in the house or you're rocking out to it, but as a live set, wasn't for me. It was too much.
I think she
sameness, like
really
the riff
nailed
goes
that.
on for 6 minutes, and
Yeah, because
so
my wife was saying they're only playing 8 songs. Well, yeah, but all their songs are 6 to 7 minutes long.
and they're very samey, which is it's important. It's a great groove, but a live
It doesn't.
groove
Yeah,
is
live. And live it doesn't work, and it doesn't work outside.
So yeah, we missed Ministry was a little bit of a miss for us, but I do appreciate them normally. But 10 out of 10 for Alice Cooper. 14th time in a row he's gotten a 10 out of 10 for me, and I'd say Rob Zombie, I'd give him an 8 out of 10. I like practical effects. I like Alice Cooper's style of show more so than the video screens that a lot of the bands lean on now. So
I would agree with that.
Should this tour come back for a third year in a row next summer?
No, I won't go. I might go.
If it fell on the right night at the right price, maybe. But I wouldn't feel the need to go again. But I say that every time, then Alice comes back.
I say that every
and
time when Alice Cooper comes to town, and I'm like, well, shit, there's a ticket in my pocket
and
now.
there
How'd that
I
get
am.
there?
Yep. So, and he comes every year. So.
Alrighty, Danny, do you want to stick around for Ghoul, or do you want to go see?
I'll stick around and
All right, let's do this.
sit quietly, but I have
Alrighty.
nothing to contribute.
Keefy, bust out the record. I'm going on mute. Let's do this quickly.
All right, yeah. I think this is a fascinating choice. So Nick and I were very pleased. We've talked multiple times that Gimme Metal is back. Gimme Metal was a radio station and a vinyl club and a t-shirt club and a store and a whole way of life for a whole community of underground metal fans and not too much commercial metal. And I don't know if you know this about me because of ghostcultmag.com. I had several shows on Gimme Metal, and I might even link one of my playlists from Spotify into the notes here or onto the show here on the replay. And I loved the community. It was really cool. It was outside of social media. There was a integration with Spotify where you could save your likes on the channel radio stations to a Spotify playlist. They launched the Vinyl Club. It was exclusive variants and things. Some things out of print. Originally, they came with other things like a pin, like an enamel pin or a shirt or whatever. But specifically, Gimme Metal was able to get limited edition special versions of albums that were not available anywhere else. So I was a religious purchaser of Gimme Metal records, and I got things that I didn't have that I always wanted, like Bolt Thrower and, an obituary record and things like that I did not have, and a Yob record that I love so much. So, a lot of variety. Gimme Metal goes under because they really couldn't monetize it. It comes back later it reopens as a store, reopens as a t-shirt club, re-brought back the vinyl club. Nick and I signed up. We haven't really loved a lot of things they have. I screwed up one month and forgot, and they sent me something I wasn't crazy about, even though it's a really brutal, great death metal record. I particularly would not have spent money on it. Originally, I think the vinyl club was $15 a month, then $20 a month,
It's
then
like
$24.99.
$35 shipped now.
It's now $35 to $40 per record. So you got to really want it. And Nick and I since we don't have a Metallica vinyl club this year, maybe next year they'll bring it back. We'll see.
Hopefully.
Hopefully, but we'll see. We don't know. Now that they have a pressing plant, they could do it. And so we were like, let's do Gimme Metal and see what they come out with in the new iteration, if there's anything we agree on. And I was like, yo, I love...
Little squiffy.
I love Ghoul, and I love... They're better live than on these records, but they have some banger records. For those that don't know, just really quick, Ghoul is a band from the fictional country of Creepsylvania, which is a Christian monarchy, and, besought by monsters. And you might have seen them open for Gwar many times on national tours because they are kindred spirits, even though Gwar are mutants who live in Antarctica, but they're from Uranus, and Ghoul is from Creepsylvania, I believe somewhere in Eastern Europe officially, like Sokovia. The members of Ghoul include Digestor, lead guitar and vocals, Cremator, bass and backing vocals, Dissector...
Is it not Cremator?
Cremator.
I like Cremator.
I like Mater because of cars. Cremator.
You know, anyway, Cremator, that's like what you get like towards the end when
isn't that
you wash your socks.
I think that's when you go. I think that's when you go to the French bistro and Cremator is part of the whores the hors d'oeuvres.
Is that some cream of some young guy right there?
I just wanted to say whores again. Anyway, Dissector on rhythm
sex
guitar
positive,
and
sex positive,
and Fermentor drums and back. You say whore. You act like whore is a bad word. I think whore and slut are fantastic words and meaningful. And
I have no
apply to any gender. They apply to any gender. Anyway, Fermentor is the drummer. So Splatterthrash was like their second record and a concept record. And so just really quick, I'm going to discuss the concept record. Should I unbox first and then the concept?
Yeah, unbox it.
I'm going to blast through this. This is not hard to do.
Yeah.
First and foremost, this guy came with one of these guys. So I'm going to show you what fans out there watching the Glacially Musical Pouredcast or listening. Here's what you do when you get one of these with your fucking record. That's what you fucking do. You throw it the fuck away.
Wait a minute. All right. I leave them on the floor, then my cats piss on them. Am I doing it wrong?
You're doing it wrong. So, true to the spirit, this is beautifully done, I think. Beautifully done production here. Already in the mylar, already played, of course. I love this thing. Fantastic album art. All of Ghoul's records typically have beautiful, beautiful album art. Feast your eyes on this. This is horrific and great. Kind of looks like some R. Crumb cut-up stuff. And the back cover looks more typically like a death metal record. Like
very Gerald stuff. Very Gerald.
A very maybe even grindcore. Even the font they used is kind of like a grindcore font, but no grindcore here. The fans of Ghoul are called the Galunatics Asylum, Metallica's Ex Mortis, Metal for the Dead, right? And I think here's one of their guys. I think this is Dissector holding a skateboard on the back cover, which is fucking rad. And honestly, Ghoul is kind of a death metal played by experts at thrash. So think like early Obituary and Suffocation, but also Jungle Rot. And I love these guys. And
early Obituary is the best Obituary.
That's a fact. And a future Glacial Musical series.
Oh my God, yes.
And we have to.
Can I do the live versions as the what I listen to when we do that?
No. Anyway, so here's a Splatterthrash splatter vinyl, black and blood red. Nice, right? Pretty nice. 2 different labels on the front and back. And just because
2 different labels things confused me every time when I was trying to put the record on because my eyesight doesn't work very well anymore, and I couldn't read
mine neither.
Ladder so little.
Yeah.
So I don't put an A and a B or a 1 and a 2. Yeah. Make it easy for us. We are old.
It is not clear whether it is an A or a B side unless you know the songs, which Nick possibly doesn't. I do.
I couldn't read them. It was little bitty. It was like half a point font.
I guess it's not good. I don't know. And this is reissued on Tank Crimes record, which Ghoul continues to be on. So this record came out in 2006, vinyl on 2007, reissued on Tank Crimes twice, including this year for Gimme Metal. And I don't know if Nick is as special as me, but I got a Gimme Metal sticker to go with my vinyl.
I did, and I couldn't. I was trying to put it on the calyx since I covered up all the other good stickers because I got a new calyx and I couldn't move the old one. But I couldn't get like the sticker off. I've also got like Satan Records, which has that where I got my MC Chris records, but I can't get the back off of that to stick it on the calyx either.
Oh, I forgot one thing. This came with a lyric sheet, which the original also came with, apparently. I did not have the original. I had the CD of this that I bought at a show, and then this is the first time I've had this on vinyl. So this lyric sheet is drawn and written and created like a comic strip, like a comic book, with the story and the lyrics, including like, I don't know, these yellow boxes are like thought boxes from a comic book, or speech boxes, right? So it's brilliant. And the back is kind of like a Jesus Christ holding a Ouija board and saying, "Welcome to Creepsylvania, kiddies. We hope your time here is splatterific." But this is beautiful and nicely done. So just really quick, before I blast through the track listing, and we don't have to do them all, but I'll do the main important ones.
That's a good idea.
The album's concept is the story. The opening track is not related to the concept of the record. Weird. But it is instrumental.
Always the best move when you have a concept record, put 1 or 2 tracks in there that have nothing to do with it. And that will keep English majors like myself guessing for the next 10 years. Like, where does that mean? How does that fit? Like, I came up with, like, Spider's Lullaby. I think we talked about this with King Diamond, how I decided the whole record was part of the story when everybody who's smart says it's only the back half. I discovered a way to, like, squeeze the first half into there, which makes no sense.
All right, really quick. The concept of the record is the story of a cult in Creepsylvania, which Ghoul defeats, and then they are attacking Ghoul in an effort to take a crystal skull into their possession. This is literally like a year, the same year, this came out the same year that Mastodon has a record about crystal skulls. Future podcast.
Indiana Jones.
No, that movie's not good, even though I am the only one that liked it, because it was supposed to be an X-Files themed script.
That movie is terrible, and it's got like, what's his name from Transformers in it.
I can't go faster if you don't let me. Silence, fool. Then the cult comes back after being defeated a few times with the Killbot, designed specifically to defeat Ghoul, and they defeat the Killbot. The Killbot, still a big part of Ghoul shows live, by the way. And then Creepsylvania becomes, or even more formally cements their, fundamentalist Christian states, while Ghoul waits to get their revenge on the next record. Brilliant, no notes. I have all my notes on my phone, so I'm going to just kind of hate fuck the rest of this episode with my phone and my notes.
Are these the same Killbots as in Futurama, or like different Killbots?
It could be inspired, that name. It's possible. But the Killbot is very similar to, who's the robot from Gore? Is it Gore? It's not Gore. It's something else. I don't remember. They might be related. I'm not sure. Into the Catacombs, the instrumental opening track, 4 minutes and 33 seconds. It's a pretty fun thrash metal, thrashy death metal, like early death. Thrash-sounding death, right? Death metal. First track that's of note is the second track on the record that really kind of sets the table for the concept record. As Your Casket Closes, thrashy death metal with like a gurgling vocals. I made like a gesture earlier that I was going to slit my own throat when you were name-dropping these Sammy Hagar songs. And it sounds like someone cut their throat and then tried to sing Cannibal Corpse, like Barnes. But also a defining feature of Ghoul is they love surf guitar. So sometimes they have a whole surf guitar section in the middle of a death metal song, kind of like a Mr. Bungle would do, insane. And then other times they just have a surf, other times similar to Mastodon again, and I'm not trying to like make comparisons because I don't think that's fair. They'll just have a surf guitar solo in the middle of a song just randomly. Bury the Hatchet, in the immortal words of Duncan Evans, bog standard death metal, but pretty heavy, extremely heavy. Day is the fourth track, and I call this Cannibal Crotch, and just what you think it means. And a great descending guitar solos, a lot of shredding guitar solos on here.
If we're going to have parody Cannibal Corpse, just go ahead and give me Cannabis Corpse.
I understand. My reference point was Cannibal Corpse, and I just called it Cannibal Crotch. It's not a parody song.
I'm just saying, if we're going to have...
In the way, all these songs are parodies of themselves and real life and religious people. Oh, lost one of my lights. Okay. Cult of the Hunters, probably the track Nick would like the most. It is a brutal obituary worship song with a theremin and another surf guitar section and solo. Fucking brilliant. Best song on here, no notes.
If you don't have a theremin, what do you have?
Don't idea.
You don't have a whole lot of love, that's for sure.
That's fair. Also kind of sounds like the Batman theme and Secret Agent Man, Hombre Secreto, by the Plugs.
Secret Agent Man is coming up a lot lately.
We're gonna end up doing Devo.
What is up with that?
I don't know. Mutant Mutilator, I call the death metal Toxic Waltz by Exodus. Psychoplasm, The Cramps, but death metal. So you're seeing a theme here, right? Title track is number 8, Splatterthrash. And then the album kind of...
It's like we're listening to the last Stormtroopers of Death record. What is it? What was it? Was it Speak English or Die? That wasn't the last one, was it?
That's the
King
first
of the
one.
King in Celtic Frosted Flakes.
Seasoning the Obese, except it's basically Rain and Blood. Gut Bucket Blues, kind of short but excellent. Rise, Killbot, Rise! Fucking awesome. This song, they still play it live. This is from 2006. They play it live every show. It fucking rules. And then they got a couple of other, Life of the Living Dead, and Baron Samedi. Alright. But a pretty great record. I'm glad I have this. I enjoy this band live, and I thought this was a fun record. This is our first Gimme Metal Club record that Nick and I both bought at the same time. I hope there'll be more. I hope there'll be even more. But right now, this is it for now. I don't know if Nick has any other thoughts on this record. Probably not too many.
I don't have too many. It's not a bad record, so please understand, everything I am about to say does not mean I am getting rid of it, I am breaking it, or I hate it, or I'm mad about it, because I ain't mad at it. It is a little generic, and I wish it wasn't, and I listened to it 2 or 3 times in order to get ready for this episode, and I don't have a whole lot of strong memories of any of these songs. Keefy has lived with this record for a really long time. We were texting this morning, me, Keefy, and Danny, about what we were doing today, because we're professional as fuck, that we set up what's happening the same day. But, we did it during the workday, not after the workday. Like, we're not setting it up now. We set it up hours ago. So, everybody had plenty of time. And I realized at that moment, I don't know who in the hell Ghoul even is. So Keefy's texting us these things, and I'm like, huh, that's what this is? Neat. Keefy's going to talk a lot.
This is the most talking, especially considering how much I hate Sammy, this is the most talking I've done in an episode in a long time, which is fine.
I don't have much to say. It is a good threath metal album. I guess that's the best. It's a threath metal.
Another shirt idea for Glacially Musical, threath metal. Is there a hyphen in threath, or is it just THRETH?
No, it's threath metal.
Copyright
If you want
Nick
to do
Cameron.
really good, you would have the dude that played Thresh from Hunger Games with a guitar. Then you get threath metal.
Danny, would you be interested in checking out Ghoul at some point?
Based upon your description, yes. Interestingly, I did not know that we were discussing Ghoul tonight until 4 p.m., at which point I wasn't even home. So
I think Nick's, what we've done with other guests, have had them pop in and leave, and I like you so much, I always want you to stay. So I like seeing your face, and I like your general vibe, and I love spending time with you when I visited St. Louis, and I will do so again next year, and we'll do it again. Maybe we'll get to an
Danny
Maybe
is
we'll
like the...
get to a Cardinals game.
We are literally living in a multiverse with the three of us right now. Because, Keefy is the version of me that's super negative and can't drink beer. And then Danny is the version of me that's super positive and doesn't need beer. I'm living in this is a really weird thing. We're like the Spider-Man pointing at each other. Danny is the me if I really took care of myself. He's thin, he's attractive, he's got plenty of energy, he's in all the bands, he doesn't have a kid. Not that I regret my kid by any stretch.
So basically, we're in our own version of Fight Club. Danny is Tyler Durden, and Nick and I are just worse versions of Jack, the narrator.
I've never seen that movie.
What? You hate Brad Pitt. Anyway,
Brad Pitt.
Do you have any other final thoughts before I take us home? I have to see a dog about his insulin shot. And dinner.
What the fuck?
That's only the second time I've ever been called attractive, and the first time was actually by Gene Simmons when I interviewed him for Glacially Music. And we didn't have video on that, so I don't know how he knew. So,
well, you've got a very handsome vibe, sir. Very handsome.
Jeez, come on.
Way more handsomer than your face.
So yeah, but anyway, thanks guys for having me on. It's always fun talking rock and metal with guys that know so much as you guys do, so it works. So
I felt really naked this week, not knowing anything about this band.
What are we doing next week? Is it the Chaser? Another Chaser?
Next week is Gilly. Next week is Gilly.
Oh yeah, Gilmore, and then so technically a Chaser-ish episode.
Yeah, Chaser.
and then Mastodon the week after. Cannot wait. Nik can wait. Nik is gonna die. Stop it. Stop it. Don't do that.
That actually really hurt.
Oh, yeah, good. You deserve it. Anyway, because Nik is a bad co-host. The last time Danny was on, he sent me none of Danny's social media or music links. So Danny, since we have a thread, when we get off this or tomorrow, send me your links so I can include them in the description of the thing. And Nik will have to do better next time. And on that note, you have been watching and listening to the Glacially Musical Pouredcast. I am your co-host, Keefy, from GhostCultMag.com, at GhostCultKeefy, at GhostCultMag on all the things. Danny, you are a treasure of a human being and pretty fucking awesome. Nik Cameron is your actual host at Glacially_Musical, at Nik_Mel_C in a couple of places. Mostly Glacially Musical in the important places. Please follow us, support. You know, if this is your first time here, thanks for being here. Give us a like, give us a follow, give us a sub. And with that out of the way, as we say every week at the Glacially Musical Pouredcast, it does not play in Peoria, but absolutely Rob Zombie and Alice Cooper have stopped there.
It's also covered in corn sweat.
Ew. Brother, why? Ew.